Hey y'all, welcome to Marcy in the Middle, a podcast about transitions and the middle of life. Here we talk about everything from relationships to finding your place in the world and lots more. We'll talk with friends from all walks of life and find out what they've learned along the way. So whether you feel young or old or somewhere in between, this is the place for you. Welcome to the middle. Welcome to Marcy in the Middle. Today I have my friend Tabitha Richardson from the 4T Land Group, and we are going to talk about all of the things that are involved when you decide to launch a business in young midlife. And Tab is very gracious to come on and share her story, so we're going to get right to it. Welcome to the podcast, Tabby.
Well, thanks for having me.
Anytime. Okay, so I know you because we go way back to the beauty shop days.
Yes.
When we were not the ones with the beauty shop. Talk a little bit about just growing up and how you met Tommy, and get us into the story.
Well, I was born, raised in Ferris until I was 7, and then we moved here to Tushka. I was in first grade and graduated from Tushka in 2001, and Tommy and I started dating in 2002.
Okay.
And that's kind of a quick version of it.
That's right.
But we dated probably 4 years before we got married, and I did hair. Well, I went to cosmetology.
Okay.
Did hair right out of high school.
Outside of high school. Okay.
Yep. And then did that for, I got pregnant with Tegan. And so when I was 6 months pregnant, I had to be on kind of a temporary bed rest.
Okay.
And then I just kind of quit doing hair. I never went back.
I'm not going back.
Yeah. And that was kind of our goal, like a lot of sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to be a mom, and I wanted to raise my kids. I didn't want my kids to have to go to grandparents or daycares or shuffle them around. And so we made a lot of sacrifices for me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so when I stayed home, we raised English Bulldogs.
Yes. I forgot about that.
PTSD. I'll never do that again. Anybody that raises them. But and then we had Taylon. So Tegan was born in 2008, and then Taylon was born in 2010.
Okay.
And stayed home. Tommy went through highway patrol. Well, she was 2 and he was 4, and that was a huge sacrifice.
I was thinking
huge.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the process of that, because sometimes people don't understand what they go through to do that.
Back up a little bit. When Tegan was born, we sold our house. I was actually in the hospital when we sold it.
Oh, my goodness.
And we did a lease back, so we lived there for 6 months while we built our house. And we moved into it in February of 2009. Got pregnant with Taylon, had her the next year. He applied for the academy, started that in 2013. He's going to kill me if I forget. And we sold our house that we built.
Okay.
We moved into he was gone for 4 months.
Yeah.
The kids and I moved into a little FEMA trailer that we rented from Kim and Marty.
Oh, my goodness.
While we built our barn while he was in the academy. So I did that while he was gone.
How many months is that?
He was gone 4, I think. He started March 31st, and I think his graduation was, I don't remember, August.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I don't even remember.
You had tiny little kids living
honestly,
in a FEMA trailer. You don't have to remember.
The first 3 or 4 years of my poor kids' lives, it was just survival. And he graduated. Well, he would come home. He got to where he got to come home on the weekends.
Yeah.
And then he graduated the academy. He was stationed in Push County.
Okay.
And so he had to live there.
Yeah.
So we bought a little piece of land and a house, and when he worked nights over there, we would go stay there and kind of commuted.
Yeah.
But the kids were little; they weren't in school, and it was easy.
It worked.
And then in 2015, I think we sold that place, bought another piece of land, and that's when I started real estate, or the process, my license. Actually got my license and put them on hold and went and got my insurance license.
Okay.
And did that, and we pursued a couple agencies. We were looking at buying. One of his best friends his dad owned an agency in Grove, and we talked to them about purchasing that. It came, just doors just kept being closed.
Yeah.
And I still had my real estate license on hold. And I told him, I'm like, this is just not meant to be. Like, this is not the path God's pushing me towards. Yeah. And so after a lot of contemplating, praying and back and forth, we decided, I just decided to jump out with the real estate. So I started in Durant with a company and worked there for a couple years. And then I moved back to Atoka.
Moved my
license back. Yeah, I didn't. And always becoming a broker was always when I started real estate, that was my goal, was just to be my own boss. And so when you have to work under an agent for 3 years. And so I got my broker's license, held them for a year because I was scared to death to jump out and do anything on my own.
Yeah.
And finally we just did it. It was just have to do it.
Yeah. You're like, it's time.
So in 2022, we started our own company.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. And it's been a roller coaster ever since.
Yes.
So.
And now, you're a broker and
Yes.
you have a company. How many agents do you have?
I have 10 agents that work underneath me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 2 years.
Yeah.
You went from you and Tommy to
9.
To 10. Yeah.
10.
That's
yep. And he got his license right before we opened so he could help with land and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot. So you were did you want to do real estate? Like what kind of what made you pick that? Because when you were younger, did you want to do that?
No. And so backing up, and Sydney and I've actually had this conversation with her. She might not remember it, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did hair. I wanted to be a mom and raise my kids, and had no goals. No, like, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Right.
No idea.
Yeah.
And we both, Tommy and I, have always enjoyed flipping and selling and moving, and so we've done it like 9 times.
I know you have. I'm like, Clint and I have too, but I'm done. I flipped my last flip. I think.
We're done. We built our last house. We're done. But no, I didn't. And honestly, even when I got my real estate license, I was doing it just floating to do it. But when I got my broker's license, it was like I have found what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've like found what I wanted to be when I grew up. That's
right.
what I keep saying.
I've got my big girl job.
Yeah. But and I enjoy being out and showing and doing all the fun stuff, but I also more have enjoyed having all the agents and like helping them, like teach them how to.
Yeah.
I mean, I've learned from it.
Mm-hmm.
There's never not a learning part of real estate, but that's just been it's hard. It's my sister actually asked me the other day, she was like, what, like, can you tell? I mean, like, do you like what you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, are you glad that you're doing it? And I'm like, I wouldn't go back.
Yeah.
At all. Like,
that's good.
Yeah.
That makes you feel good, like if you've done, because you invest a lot of time and energy into any career, but real estate is complicated, and you spend a lot of time
Well,
that you don't necessarily get a check for.
no, and a lot of people don't understand the process. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people that go to college and do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 90-hour course, and there's tons of realtors, and hopefully they can all vouch for it. It's not easy.
No.
When you're teaching it to yourself, you're having to learn, and they don't teach you everything you need to know.
Right.
And
the basics.
Yeah, and you just have to wing it. Get out there and learn. But so you do a 90-hour course, and then a year late, within the year of you getting your license, you do another 45-hour course. And the initial test to get your license, the state PSI test, you're timed, you're in a little room, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And I won't even tell how many times I had to take it, but it was a lot.
It doesn't matter, you passed.
So,
and you're successful now.
Yeah, but I did that and literally turned around a month later and did my insurance, and it's the same.
The same thing.
Yeah. I did actually get to go to a course, and so a week, I had to stay a week in Tulsa, went through the course, and then I think I had to go back and do another life insurance course.
Yeah.
And did all that, kept my insurance license up, did my CE course.
Yeah.
And then I finally told Tommy, I'm like, I'm just letting it go. I'm not ever going to use it.
Yeah.
And if I do, I'll go back through the course.
You can go back. I know. I'm like, you can always do it. Well, once you kind of find your groove, it feels good. But that is kind of the short and sweet and neatly tied up story. When you started or were kind of doing it, were you scared?
Oh, yeah. I was always the one that was kind of a procrastinator, and Tommy was the one pushing me,
Yeah.
You're
in a good way.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You're meant for this. This is what you...
Yeah.
I never had faith in myself. I've never been confident that I could do anything. I didn't feel like I was, I don't mean good enough, just not... I didn't feel like people looked at me as an important person or someone that could do this.
Yeah.
And I still don't. There's still times I feel like people underestimate who I am.
Yeah.
And the things that I know.
Which is really good in business. It's good to be underestimated.
Yeah. And so I'm this is something I've learned in myself. I'm very competitive with myself. And when I feel like somebody doesn't believe in me or doesn't, then I push that much harder to prove that person wrong, even though they don't even know that they've done it to me. I'm like, I'm going to. And so I don't know, that's probably a lot of what's pushed me harder to be out there more.
I do think and I know that that's true for men too, but I think it is more so for women. And maybe because we do that to ourselves. Yeah. Maybe we put more doubt and don't realize what we're capable of. And so that it feels like other people don't. And I do know that can be true. And real estate used to be a very, like a man's world.
Yeah.
And now I was thinking when we were planning our thing, I've got a lot of friends who do real estate. My mother-in-law had a very successful real estate business in Eufaula, and she was kind of like you. She went into it and just it's kind of sink or swim.
Yeah.
And it is hard work. Hard work.
Yeah, it is. And that's you knew me growing up, so I've always been very timid.
Yeah.
Very shy. A lot of people think I'm rude, and I'm not. I'm just extremely introverted. I don't want to be in front of a crowd. I don't want to be out and about with a lot of people. And so doing this has really, really pushed me way outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because Tommy's right the opposite of me. So he's been the one that's, I think if he hadn't pushed me so much, that I probably wouldn't be. Yeah. But I don't want my kids to be that way either. I don't want my kids to be as awkward as I feel like I was,
Yeah.
I want them to, and Tegan is, my son is so much like me.
Yeah.
And I have had to push him to do things,
Mm-hmm.
even though I know how he feels, and I'm telling him, I know
Yes.
exactly how you feel. You just have to do it and get over
Mm-hmm.
it. And so, I don't know. I've just kind of looked at it anymore like, what's the worst that could happen? Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Well, once you're out there, I feel like it is kind of freeing because you get to that point where you're like, okay, this is my thing, and I'm either going to fail or not, and I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Like, I do have what it takes, and I can manage my home and my business and raise kids, and God's going to give me what I have to have
Yeah.
to do it.
And I wholeheartedly believe that God put me, like, he has been my backbone through this.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, that's just, I literally will pray for every single thing. And,
Yes.
you know, like, you just have to do it. You have to push me. You have to put me there.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, after the situation, I'm like, oh, you were there. You did that, not me.
You got me through.
Yeah. So, but
That's funny. Well, I just think I wanted to have you on because I think a lot of people, especially nowadays, look at, oh, look, she is beautiful and smart, and she has no fears. She's born confident. She's gonna take on the world, and because that's what a lot of things look like on social media, and that's what, I mean, most of us are not going to post crying or shaking in the closet, like,
yeah.
and just from the outside in, and knowing you growing up, I'm like, you were not, have always been beautiful and smart and a wonderfully
thank you.
amazing human. And you had your own business doing hair. I mean, like, that's not doing nothing, and
Yeah.
staying home and raising your kids, making sacrifices so that you could. All of those were decisions you made and that you followed through with. But I just think sometimes people look and say, well, that looks really easy. I don't have what it takes. I could not do that. And
Yeah.
you want people to know it's scary. Like, every day it's scary.
And it is. And I even still look at people like that.
Yeah.
Like, I wished I was,
Yeah.
I wished I had more courage, or I wish I was that. And I wish people could see the inside,
Yes.
like the scared
Yeah.
part of, you know,
Yeah.
because it's not all roses and
No.
sunshine. I mean, it is,
Yeah.
there's a lot of nights. I mean, and for the most part, I am with my kids
Yeah.
all the time. And
Yeah.
that is one of the pluses with it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times that I set up softball games with my laptop, or I'm on the phone with the
Yes.
client, but they know I'm there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
And we're lucky enough that I have a lot of softball moms that'll catch videos
Yeah.
for me. So, but no, it's not easy, but anybody, I mean, you can do it. Like,
Yeah.
anybody can do it if you just have to put your mind to it.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think would be, because in sales, a lot of times you think you need to be an extrovert. You need to love being out at all the things. And you've proven that is not the case. What do you think? What are some of the qualities that you think, owning your own business, opening your own business, and then specifically to real estate, what are some of the things that you do need? Some of the characteristics.
I don't know exactly like how to. I know how I do it. I don't
Yeah.
know how to put it to other people, but you don't have, like, Tommy and I are homebodies. We barely get out and do anything. In fact, Walker and Mindy will
Yes.
drug us to the chamber thing, and we have fun. We just,
Yeah.
but you do have to be out and about. But my thing is I just try to be as people person as I can. When I'm out and about in town,
Yeah.
I'll stop in and talk to people, and or if I run into, you just have to be personable, and And you do have to, social media, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
you have to be out there. You kind of have to throw yourself out there
Yeah.
more than what you want
Yes.
to.
Well, we-
Tommy's not a social,
No.
he doesn't even have
Yeah.
social media, and he hates it. But I tell him all the
Me
time,
too
I'm like,
sometimes.
I have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. You do have to. If you're in sales, I don't know who is in sales that's not a little bit out there. I heard it's one of my favorite sayings, and honestly, I cannot remember where I heard it, but it was probably at some network marketing training. But get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's literally,
100%.
you could print it on every single thing
Mm-hmm.
from the time you're 9 until you're 90, probably. Just, it's okay to not know what you're doing
Oh, yeah.
and try.
You might cringe later. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
We all have.
yeah. I mean, there's several times that I'll get home and I'm like, did I say that? Did I really say that? But also I think when you're talking to a client, the more you make them comfortable, the more
Yes.
you're you and who you are.
Yeah.
And that's, Tommy always tells me, you got to act professional. And I'm like, I'm as professional as I'm going to get.
Yeah.
I am who I am. And if some rich guy from Dallas comes down and wants to buy a piece of land or
Yeah.
whatever, or they're going to get who I am.
Yeah.
And I mean, I will be professional. I feel like I
Well, you are professional.
am.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't try to.
You're not being fake. That's what
That's-
you're saying.
yes,
Is you're going to
yes.
be true to who you are. And I think the success of your business, and if you look at anyone that's who we look at, I mean, Fortune 500 companies, all the people that are kind of gurus in business and sales will tell you, you need to be authentic. Do
Yeah.
not try to pretend that you're something else. And we were laughing before, as all of you are hearing, we do not sound like we come from New York City.
No.
But we're not. And I'm like, there's a difference in being the best version of you, but not trying to be the best version of someone else.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that sells people because you trust someone who's themselves. I
Yeah.
don't trust somebody that I can tell is putting on some kind of different thing. If you're fake, I'm like, why are you fake?
Yeah.
Like that makes people not trust you.
Oh yeah, and that's like, I'll have a client call me and ask, they don't live here,
Yeah.
asking about a property, and I'm 100 as transparent as I can be with
Yeah.
them. And there's times I don't make the sale or I don't get the client because of that.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine
Yeah.
with not. I've lost a lot of clients because I will not tippy-toe around or tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not rude at all by
Well,
it.
that's just going to save them later.
Yeah.
Like you're literally saving them time and money
Yeah.
and yourself a lot of emotional distress.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
What do you think what is the most challenging part of owning your own business and being a mom?
The phone. I'm always on the phone. And I've really, in the past year, the first year was really just getting started. Like
Yeah.
it was constant.
Yeah.
And we didn't expect to take off. Like I was so scared that we would start it and we would do nothing
Yeah.
for a while. And we didn't. I mean, I don't even know how many agents we had January 1st was our start date. Well,
Yeah.
the 4th technically. By summer, I think we had almost all of the agents we have, but like 4. And
Wow.
so it was scary for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm just learning,
Yeah.
because there's a ton of laws, a ton of rules.
Yeah, there
and
are.
and there's more with being a broker, and everybody that's underneath me
Is depending on you.
and I'm responsible for them. Anything they do, mistakes, anything is me. It falls
Yeah.
back on me. And so and that was one of the biggest things that I didn't want to take on, being a broker, but I've learned how to do it, and so I'm kind of, it's second nature now.
Yeah.
But just the kids last year, it got to where they were like, "You're always on your phone." And I was constantly on my phone. If it wasn't talking, it was responding by text message, emails, and I got to where it got to the point I was like, at 7:00, I'm not gonna have my phone.
Yeah.
I still do, but I try when I get the kids to at least put it down for 30 minutes and talk to them. And I still talk to them.
I know you. Yes, I know what you mean.
And we're all, I mean, that's something that Tommy and our kids, we do everything with them. We never, they don't stay with grandparents unless they want.
Yeah.
But we go, everything we do.
Yeah.
Anniversary trips, the kids go. Like, they just do everything with us. And so that's kind of, I've had to make myself. And on the flip side, both of us, Tommy included, we're always on our phone. Like his job, my job, it consists of a lot. And we just have to, you have to make yourself.
You do.
So it's hard. And there's sometimes that I can go a couple days and just have 1 or 2 phone calls and it's pretty low key. And then there's days that I'm constantly on the phone.
Yeah.
From phone call to phone call. And the kids are really good. They're old enough. They understand now.
Yeah.
So
They are.
but I take them, like Taylor went with me.
Yeah.
We had to go do some droning today. She went with me.
Yeah.
So
It's a good family friendly thing. And that's the benefit of owning your own business, is that you decide and you can kind of schedule around. I do think the phone is like, I don't know who the phone is not a nightmare for, because my stuff is all on the phone too. Clint's is too. And you're just constantly.
In real estate, you can't shut it off either. I mean, it's
right. Yeah.
There's people that work till 5. The only time they can call is after 5. Weekends.
Yeah.
I do work on Sundays. I try not to.
Yeah.
Sundays are kind of we go to church and then I have the kid. I mean, like, that's my day.
Yeah.
If it's a dire need, I will, but we try not to.
Yeah. You have to, or you won't. And I'm 10 years ahead of you, and if you don't put the boundaries down, no one I mean, it won't happen.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to. I mean, we're all just running at such a high pace these days that I'm like, if you don't predetermine your schedule and your rhythm of life, then it will be determined for you, and it will not be the things you want. I think that's just a constant for moms and dads. But again, I'm a woman, you're a woman. We're moms, and you kind of battle, like, helping provide for the family, then being the mom, and it's a tough, there's enough mom guilt to go around for everyone. But you're also showing your kids a good work ethic, and they'll have a very clear picture of what owning their own business will be like.
And I am really upfront with both of them. Tegan is such a grown up, like, he's already so mature.
He's very mature.
And Taylor, both of my kids are, but they're very understanding. Like, he's like, "Oh, Mom, you're fine." Taylor's more, she wants my attention.
Exactly.
But she is learning.
Yeah.
I talk to her and I'm like, I'm apologize constantly. I'm like, "I'm so sorry, but I have to take this phone call." And she'll be telling me something about school, and I'm like, "Oh, I feel so bad, but I have to answer." And so I always try to remember, as soon as I hang up, we go back to the conversation.
Yeah.
So, and one other thing, like, this is something that Sydney and I talked about. It's kind of going back. So many kids think we have to get out of high school and we have to go to college, or we have to have our life straight. We have to know what we're going to do and what we're going to be. It has to be planned out. Yeah. And that's what me and Sid were talking about. It does not. And I wish kids didn't put so much pressure. You're still a kid. Be a kid.
Yeah.
And go to college, do your thing, but you don't. I mean,
right.
work at the lumberyard, work
Yeah.
at wherever. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, do work. Don't not have
Right.
a job.
Work.
Yes. But you don't have to have your career.
No, you don't.
Because
Yeah.
I was 39 when I finally knew what my
Yeah.
end goal, what I
Yeah.
was going to do. And it was there, and it's clear.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Well, I agree with that, and I hate it because the pressure is so intense. And I guess it was when I was in high school. Did you feel the pressure when you
Yeah.
were in high school?
mom and dad knew I was not going to college.
Yeah.
Like, I had no
Yeah.
desire. I hated school.
Right.
And even now I wouldn't go back. Like,
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
like,
It just wasn't your thing.
no, there's nothing I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say now I would probably do network marketing or business management
Yeah.
or something like that if I went back, if I
Yeah.
went to school. But I had no clue
Yeah.
then. Like, I
Yeah.
had no idea what I want to do.
Yeah.
And Tegan, like, that's one thing with
Yes.
our kids. Tommy's, he wants to go to a trade school,
Yeah.
and do something like that.
Yeah.
Or who knows, he might run heavy equipment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the work ethic is, to me, that's the main goal.
Yeah.
Something that you're going to work and make money. You don't have to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
You don't have to just have ambition to work. And
Yeah. No, there's many other things in life that are just as important.
yeah. And I think the world we live in these days, that's
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know. That's just,
Yeah, it's the message
Yeah.
of, work, spend all of your time working, then spend all of your time piling up stuff, and you'll have it all. And I'm like, that is not
no.
the way to happiness. And yes, work hard, and it's fine to have some stuff, but if that's what you're looking to fulfill you, it's
No.
going to be a serious letdown. And honestly, all of us have probably done that at
Oh,
certain
yeah.
points in our life, because you're like, if I can just do this, that's going to be it. And I'm like, it takes you a few years. I feel like it takes you probably until mid-30s, mid-40s to kind of figure yourself out. Like, what do I actually like?
Oh, yeah.
Because we're, and no matter where you grow up, if you grow up in a rural area like us or you grow up in the city, you're kind of locked into to whatever you see.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you can't try everything by the time you turn 18 or 20.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's like with us. I did hair, raised dogs.
Yeah.
And then raised kids and insurance and real estate. I never
Yeah.
did the insurance, but I did the license part. But,
Right.
And it was like 20 years. It took me 20
Yes.
years to figure
Yeah.
out, like, this is where I want to be. So, yeah. I don't think kids, I think anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just kids. That's what I think too.
Yeah.
Just no matter how old you are, if you don't like what you're doing, it is not too late to make a change, and don't get in your own head.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
you'll be your biggest, the biggest hurdle you'll have to get over is what you tell yourself. I had another question for you, and it went away because I am 10 years older than you. So, one thing that you talked about early on in your marriage was that you knew you wanted to be a mom, and you guys wanted to be the ones that spent the majority of time with your kiddos. Are you glad you did that?
Oh, 100%. I know not every parent can do that.
Yeah. No, that's true.
We were lucky enough that Tommy was in a position with his job that we could. We did not, by no means, have extra.
Yeah.
We didn't vacation. We did nothing
Mm-hmm.
but work and kids.
Yeah.
And stay home. And
Yeah.
which we had cattle, and so that helped.
Yeah.
But no, for the first, until I started real estate,
Mm-hmm.
there was no extra.
Yeah.
It was live but I look at my kids and I think they had the most grounded
Mm-hmm.
childhood, and they ran around naked in the yard and
That's right.
and
Lived
played
the
in the
good country
dirt.
life.
And, yeah, and I don't think that they wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and they don't know. I mean, you don't know
Yeah.
that you don't what you don't have. I mean,
Yes.
we had a roof over our
Right.
head. We had a
Yeah.
nice home.
Well, you had plenty. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we've gotten to with our life is when we built our house, we didn't it's a nice house, but we didn't
Yeah.
go extreme. We just needed a roof over our head.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're at in life. I mean, yeah, we do have things that we like
Yeah.
and nice things, but you just learn what's important and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. And there's some things that you can not get back, and time is one of them. And I think if you could know that when you were 18, that would be really helpful.
Oh, yes.
That your best resource is your time, and you do not want to spend it wasted on something else. And that's what I think about the phone. In my own, I'm judging no one because I'm 52 and I still think you're not going to miss that. If your life ends next week,
mm-hmm.
Wishing you had more time on the phone is not going to be what happened. Wishing you had more money,
Yeah.
wishing you had a bigger house, a fancier car, none of those will be on the list. And if you can just get your head around that early and just know that investing in the things that money can't buy, like your family and your faith, that doesn't make life perfect, but it's the stuff that you can't pay for.
Yeah. Well, and that's like the first year we started, my mentality was I can't turn down a phone call. I can't turn down a client.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was to the extreme at points that, I mean, it was 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I'm on the phone and it just got to, I finally just told myself, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot more clients out there.
Yes.
And if they go to another realtor, then I hope that they make that other realtor some money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not worth my sanity or, losing out on something with my kids. So.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned it earlier, and Shani Wilson and I were talking about just clients and maintaining and keeping the clients, and the Lord orders your steps,
mm-hmm.
and He will provide for you if you are seeking after Him and following Him. And that does not look like $1 million bankroll. So that prosperity gospel makes me want to throw up and vomit, because that's not what we're talking about. But He will provide for you, and it comes down to, okay,
He'll provide what you need.
Yes.
Not the material things that you want. Yes. And that's Jeff, our preacher, preaches on that a lot.
Yeah.
And I step back and think, oh my gosh, like, do I need that pair of shoes that I wanted?
Yeah.
Like, do I need them or do I want them? And it's always a want. But, and he also tells us, you can have things.
Yes.
You don't have
it's not a sin to have the shoes. I hope not, because I got a lot of them.
But it's the whole part of it is, it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a step.
It is
every day. And I mean, I could wake up tomorrow and my business could collapse in a heartbeat, but
it's not going to. But
well, I hope not. But yeah, it's worth it if it's something that you really want.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of hard work.
It is a lot of hard work. I do think until you own your own business, you don't understand the pressure that comes with it, and it's hard. Like, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to probably be short with people. Like, there's just there's no backup plan. Like, there's no check coming.
No.
If you don't work and if you don't get the sales. And again, there's a healthy balance of, I trust the Lord that I'm going to work diligently for a reasonable amount of time, and then I'm going to, just like you said, I'm going to put my phone down, I'm going to be with my family, and what is meant for me is I'm going to have. I think that's what Wade had maybe told Shani. Somebody else is not going to get what's meant for you. The Lord will give you what is yours. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to be faithful to use it
Yeah.
for good things. So if somebody was starting out, what would you, and it not even pertaining particularly to real estate, but if you were looking at a young 18 to 20-year-old girl, what would your advice be to her? Just any kind of advice, life, dating, work, faith, anything.
My biggest thing, and I look back at my life because there was a lot I kind of left out that happened in my younger years. You've got a whole life ahead of you.
Yeah.
It's what happens when you're, and I know people think, oh, well, you're just 18, you know, you're young. To you, that's important. That's an important part in your life. But you just have to know that I'm trying to think how to put it, but you have a long time to make a final decision.
Yeah.
Don't rush into anything. Always pray about it. And I'm not a vocal, I mean, like, I try to be a vocal person about God. I don't go around and just like,
well, you're not a preacher, but yes.
Yes.
You do. Yes. You live your life well.
Yeah. And that's, but that's what I would tell a younger person is it's not the end. It's not the end of the world. It's not the last, you know, I always look at it. I know this sounds really crazy, but when you're younger and you get in trouble,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's the end of the world. Like,
Yeah.
you're in so
My
much
life
trouble.
is over. That's right.
But it goes on.
Yeah.
You're gonna get in trouble again.
Yeah.
And you're gonna just keep going, and it's a pattern and it's a path. You
Yeah.
learn from it, and that is crazy enough. That's how I look at life now.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get in trouble for a minute, but I'm gonna move past that obstacle, and then I'm gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine again.
And it's like, it goes into adulthood. You might not get in trouble, but there's always a consequence to the things that you do. So to me, if you're an 18-year-old looking for the next step, jump out and try it. It's just an obstacle.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, move on to the next one.
Start again.
Yeah.
Try
And do
something
it again.
else. Yeah. Okay, you may not want to talk about this, and we did not talk about this beforehand, so we possibly could edit this out, but we'll see. Because I had forgotten a vital piece of your history in high school, and I do think if you're comfortable sharing about it, share a little bit about it, because you had a trauma that was significant, and again, I think sometimes a lot of people might not know that, or might not know some of the things you had to overcome young, and your young life does matter. You're not a person at 18.
Oh,
you're not a person when you're born, when you're 5. Everything in your life that happens matters to you.
Yeah. So just a brief, because I don't want to ball, but so yeah, when I was 18, I think I
can't
was,
remember.
That's awful, but I was 18 or 19. My high school boyfriend was killed in a car wreck.
Yeah.
We had actually just broken up like 2 weeks prior. A friend of mine had hooked me and Tommy up on a group date.
Yes.
We weren't dating. We just went out, and when it happened, or like kind of in the time period. So, it was Tommy kind of stepped back, and I grieved. It was a very traumatic, but I'm going to tell you, when I say God works, because I was super sad.
Yeah, I remember.
Super sad. But I knew exactly where he was going, and it was like I had like this wave over me that after I kind of grieved it, it was like I was not sad, but more happy for him. And I know that people are going to think that's so crazy.
No,
but
you grieved. Yes,
but I knew his heart. I knew exactly the person he was. And And I know God works because Tommy was always there. Like he was, and I've said it, God put him in my life at that time to take care of me when that happened.
Yeah.
And he never left my side.
Yeah.
And so,
which takes a strong person.
yes.
Because you did love the other person.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't engaged, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
he was my, I mean, for my boyfriend for 2 years.
yeah.
But that is, I mean, that's just one thing, like, I know, like, I just know without a doubt, like, God did that. He had him placed there before it happened.
Yeah.
So that I knew
Yeah.
I had somebody. I mean, not
Yes.
not that I had like not a rebound. That's not
I know
what I
what
mean.
you're saying.
But that he, I mean,
Yeah.
I had a support,
Yeah, you did.
and he was 100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't start dating for probably a month or two after that happened.
Yeah.
But we never, we talked every
Yes.
day, and
Yeah.
we seen each other, and he was very gentlemanlike about the whole ordeal, and
Yeah.
that was it. Like,
Yeah.
we
You've been together
Yeah.
ever since.
22 years.
Isn't that
almost.
crazy? I literally remember when y'all started dating.
I know.
You were babysitting the girls, and we were at that Little Rock house, which is now Victory Home Health and Hospice
Yes.
or something. I don't even know what it is now. But yeah, I can remember us talking about Tommy, and he might have come over with you even.
He did. Actually I've got pictures of Sonny eating
A
an ice
popsicle
cream.
or
Yes,
something. I
yes.
was like, I
He-
have this memory too.
He came over and we sat outside with the girls while they ate ice cream.
Yes.
And yeah, I think the only house that was the house on 2nd Street. I dated him
Yes.
through all the other houses.
All the other houses. That's right.
Yeah. He would always
that's funny.
just swing by for just a minute whenever I had the girls.
Yes, he was a good one. He's still a good one.
Yeah.
And the Lord does know how to he does organize all the things really well. And
Yes.
I don't know how he does it.
I don't either, but I'm glad he does.
I am too. So what are your do you have any other goals, like just kind of in the back of your head for your business, or
To retire.
okay. That's right.
No, I mean, when we first started this, Tommy and I talked about we wanted to get our Colorado, Kansas. We wanted to get our license in
Other states.
other states. Now, I don't know so much if we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe Colorado. And that's one thing, because we want to retire
Yes.
and have a place
Yeah.
somewhere.
Me too.
And yeah. But right now, I'm just trying to get my kids through school.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where it goes. And who
Yeah.
knows? Tegan's talked about maybe getting his real estate
Yeah.
license just to do land.
Yeah.
Taylin says she will never get hers because
Yes.
she doesn't want to work that hard.
Yeah.
She says.
That's
But
right.
I hope that I don't want to do it all my life. I mean, not that I don't love it,
Right.
but I want to retire at
Yeah.
one point and enjoy.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty good job to be able to just work it as you want to, even
Yeah.
the older you get, because you can just keep building your team. And
I hope in years to come, I don't even know, that I can get to the point where I just manage.
yeah,
And then everybody else can,
list and
work.
sell. Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not there yet.
I don't blame you. Well, you're well on your way. I'm so proud of you, because you literally just,
I hit the ground.
you did.
Yeah. I
And
dove in.
You dove in head first, and like I said, because you are not loud and a crazy extroverted person, I love watching you, because I'm like, I know that you had to push through, and that you had to believe in yourself,
Yeah.
and believe, you had a good partner encouraging you
Yeah.
that you could do it. But just doing it, Tab, is
Well, and it's from the ground up. Like that's,
Yeah.
I look at it and I'm like, we didn't have, and nothing about anybody that gets it from their parents or whatever,
right.
but we didn't. It was, we literally had to start from scratch.
yeah.
And so, I don't know. Sometimes I look at it, I'm like, man, do we really? I mean, like, did we do all
that?
this?
That's right. Well, I think too that brings up a good point, and we're kind of wrapping up. But not don't be afraid to start small. Start with one thing.
Yes.
And build. Like nobody, Rome wasn't built in a day is a saying for a reason, as many other sayings are. But just taking one step at a time, selling one thing, or taking a chance on whatever it is your dream. And we've talked a lot about what would we tell someone younger, but honestly, what would you tell someone your same age or somebody older? The same thing.
Yeah. And that's like when we started it, honestly, had no intentions of having agents.
Yeah.
It was literally just for me and Tommy to do our own.
Yeah.
And to do it our way, because I had a vision of how I wanted my real estate to be, and the land and what we wanted to offer clients.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. It was just so we could do it our own way.
Yeah.
And that's not what God had.
Yeah.
It went from
right.
there.
That's good. You found a need and you met it. And well, it's fun to watch you grow and be successful and
Well, thank you.
all the things. And I just admire you as a mom. You are a good mom, and that honestly, if you never sold another tree or house, you've gotten the most important things.
Oh yeah.
And you're killing it at that. And
Well, thank you.
kudos to you for that. Do you have any last words or final advice, or just anything you want to add that we didn't talk about?
I think we went over it.
You did good.
Probably talked too much, but
No, you didn't. Well, thanks for coming on, and good luck. And I'm excited to see what the future holds. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, and hit subscribe to keep up with all future episodes. We'd also love for you to leave us a 5-star review. That wraps it up for today's Marcy in the Middle. And remember, whatever you're in the middle of, you're not alone. We'll see you next time.